Karuta, from Portuguese carta, card, a Japanese playing cards. Playing cards were introduced to Japan by the Portuguese traders during the mid-16th century. These early decks were used for trick-taking games. Karuta packs are divided into two groups: those that are descended from Portuguese cards and those from Iwase. Iwase was originally played with shells but were converted to card format during the early 17th century. It is said that the earliest indigenous karuta was first invented in the town of Miike in Chikugo Province at around the end of the 16th century. The Miike Karuta Memorial Hall located in Ōmuta, Fukuoka is the only municipal museum in Japan dedicated specifically to the history of karuta. Chinese playing cards of the money-suited and domino types existed in Japan from at least the late 18th century until the early 20th century. Their games would influence those played with the Hanafuda pack. The basic idea of any Iwase karuta game is to be able to quickly determine which card out of an array of cards is required and then to grab the card before it is grabbed by an opponent. There are various types of cards which can be used to play karuta. It is also possible to play this game using two standard decks of playing cards. The two types of Iwase karuta decks that are most often seen are the uta-garuta and iroha-karuta. In uta-garuta, players try to find the last two lines of a waka given the first three lines. It is often possible to identify a poem by its first one or two syllables. The poems for this game are taken from the Ogura Hyakunin Isshu and are traditionally played on New Year's Day. Anyone who can read hiragana can play iroha-karuta. In this type, a typical torifuda features a drawing with a kana at one corner of the card. Its corresponding yomifuda features a proverb connected to the picture with the first syllable being the kana displayed on the torifuda. Karuta is often played by children at elementary school and junior high school level during class as an educational exercise. Although several kinds of karuta games are described below, in reality any kind of information that can be represented in card form can be used, including shapes, colors, words in English, small pictures and the like. Portuguese-derived karuta, fuda. The first indigenous Japanese deck was the Tensho karuta, named after the Tensho period, 1573 to 92. It was a 48-card deck with the tens missing like Portuguese decks from the period. It kept the four Latin suits of cups, coins, clubs, and swords along with the three face cards of female knave, knight, and king. In 1633, the Tokugawa shogunate banned these cards, forcing Japanese manufacturers to radically redesign their cards. As a result of Japan's isolationist sakoku policy, karuta would develop separately from the rest of the world. In order to hide the prescription of Portuguese-derived cards, makers turned the cards into very abstract designs known as mekuri karuta. By the mid-20th century, all mekuri karuta fell into oblivion with the exception of fuda, Japanese template, langc, which is used to play kakuri, a matching game found in Yafune, Fukui Prefecture. Unsen karuta, the Unsen karuta, Japanese deck developed in the late 17th century. It has 5 suits of 15 ranks each for a total of 75 cards. 6 of the ranks were face cards. The Portuguese deck used to have dragons on their aces. The Unsen karuta made the aces and dragons separate cards. The order of the court cards change depending on whether it is the trump suit or not, just like in Omba. The new guru suit used circular whirls. Meet Sudomo. As pips, Unsen karuta is still used in Hitayoshi, Kumamoto to play Hashinen Meri, a game descended from Gura to Peru, a relative of Omba. This game preserves some very archaic features such as inverted ranking for the pip cards in the 3-round suits. Inverted ranking is a feature found in Madhyao, Kanu, T-Tom, Ganjifa, Taro, Omba, and more, and is believed to have originated in the very earliest card games. Kabufuda, Japanese, is another derivative of Miike Karuta, but all the suits were made identical. It is used for gambling games such as Oicho Kabu. They come in decks of 40 cards with designs representing the numbers chapter 1 through 10. There are 4 cards for each number, and the 10. Jack is the only face card. Hanafuda and Hikafuda. The gambling game of Tehonbiki can be played with either a Hanafuda or Hikafuda set. Hanafuda contains 7 copies of cards numbered 1 to 6 in stylized Chinese numerals for a total of 42 cards. The 48-card Hikafuda or yomifuda has 8 copies of cards with 1 to 6 coins, similar to the coins of a Miike Karuta set. In Tehonbiki, the player tries to guess which number from 1 to 6 the dealer has selected. Some sets may include indicator cards to raise or hedge bets. Hanafuda, Japanese, lit. Flower cards, also called Hana-karuta, are 48-card decks with flower designs originating from the early 19th century. Instead of being divided by 4 suits with 12 cards each, a Hanafuda deck is divided by 12 suits, months, with 4 cards each. Hanafuda games are mostly fishing games. Their mechanics are derived from Chinese rather than European fishing games. Iwase Karuta, uta-garuta, Japanese, lit. Poem cards, is a card game in which 100 waka poems are written on 2 sets of cards that make up one full deck of 200 cards. One set is yomifuda, or reading cards, and the other is torifuda, or grabbing cards, as they were denoted. The words in the yomifuda are read, and players will have to find its associated torifuda before anybody else does to complete a poem and recite it. The Ogura Hyakunin Isshu is the most popular subgenre for the uta-garuta, called Hyakunin Isshu. Japanese, lit. 100 people, 1 poem. Compiled in the early 13th century by the poet Fujiwara no Taker. This game contains 100 poems, with each one written by a different famous poet. Competitive karuta is played with uta-garuta cards with competitions on various levels. The Japan National Championship tournament is held every January at Omi Shrine, a Shinto shrine, in Otsu, Shiga. A few non-matching games exist that use only the yomifuda. Buzumekuri is a simple game of chance originating from the Meiji period. Iroha-kamuri, Color Crowns, is a 4-player partnership game that is related to goita. See below. In both games, the poems are irrelevant. Only the appearance of the poets matter, such as their clothing, sex, or social status. Ita-garuta Ita-garuta, Japanese, is a variation found in Hokkaido. The torifuda are made of wood, while the yomifuda remain the same and lack illustrations of the poets. They are used to play a game called Shimonoku Karuta, in which the last half of the poem is read. It is played in teams. Iroha-karuta, Japanese, is an easier-to-understand matching game for children. Similar to uta-garuta, representing the 47 syllables of the hiragana syllabary, and adds kyo, capital, for the 48th. Since the syllable n can never start any word or phrase, it uses the old iroha ordering for the syllables, which includes 2 obsolete syllables, y and we. A set consists of 48 proverbs, each starting with a different syllable, and another set of cards expressing a proverb as shown in the picture, for a total of 96 cards. There are 3 standard iroha-karuta variants: Kamigata, Edo and Owari. Each variant has its own set of proverbs based on the local dialect and culture. The Kamigata version is the oldest, but the Edo version is the most widespread, being found all over Japan. The Owari variant existed only during the latter half of the 19th century before being supplanted by the Edo version. Obe-karuta Obe-karuta is an obsolete variation of iroha-karuta unique to Tokyo. The cards were created in the Edo period and remained popular through the 1910s and 1920s. Each card in the deck features a hiragana syllable and a creature from Japanese mythology. In fact, Obe-karuta means ghost cards or monster cards. Success requires knowledge of Japanese mythology and folklore as players attempt to collect cards that match clues read by a referee. The player who accumulates the most cards by the end of the game wins. Obe-karuta is an early example of the common Japanese fascination with classifying monsters and creating new ones. The game is one of the earliest attempts by Japanese companies to categorize legendary creatures, label them, define them, and subsequently market them. As such, it is a precursor to the Godzilla films of the 1950s and later. Even more closely, Obe-karuta resembles the Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokémon trading card game, which also involves collecting cards that represent fabulous creatures. In fact, many Pokémon were designed specifically after creatures from Japanese mythology. Goita is a partnership climbing and beating game from Noto. Ichikawa played with 32 tiles or cards based on shogi pieces. It may be a descendant of an earlier game played with 40 or 42 cards from the late 19th century. It is related to iroha-kamuri played with uta-garuta. In popular culture, the manga, anime series and live-action movie Chihayafuru portrays the story of a group of young people and their journey through the world of Karuta. The video game Tales of Graces features Magic Carta as a mini-game. The in-game cards feature characters from every prior game in the Tales series. Kirby Superstar Ultra has Karuta as a mini-game. It was translated as Kirby Card Swipe in the English release. In episode 303 of the anime series Bleach, they play a game of Karuta with cards based on other Bleach characters. In episode 12 of the anime series Girlfriend Kuri, Shinya Kokomi's mother presents iroha-karuta cards as a symbol of Japanese New Year. She suggests that they play a game of iroha-karuta, and, although everyone agreed, they are never shown playing. The Japanese culture and lifestyle television show Began Japanology aired on NHK World featured a full episode on Karuta in 2010. In World Trigger, in both the anime, episode 13, and manga, main character Mikumo Osamu is seen training his reflexes by playing Karuta and ultimately lost to a kid and his capybara. In episode 4 and 5 of the anime series Nunbuka, Karuta is the third event of the New Year Joint Cooperation Tournament. Guard Seitaru, from Building 13, competed against guard Kiji Mitsuba from Building 3. Uno from Building 13. Cell 13 competed against Huarin Honey from Building 3. See also Hanafuda, Kabufuda, uta-garuta, Menko. References and notes. External links. Miike Playing Cards and History Material Museum. Japanese playing cards of Western origin. Portuguese-derived patterns. Andes playing cards. Portuguese-derived cards. An in-depth look at Portuguese-derived patterns. Andes playing cards. Eawase playing cards. Archived. Eawase type cards. Karuta. Sports or culture. A detailed essay about the game. Karuta Genki English. A variation of the game using picture cards. Karuta. Japanese card game graphics. Uesha Tengyudo, Karuta in Hanafuda. Shop of old standing in Kyoto. Discovery Creative Hugan Karuta. Karuta used in the various dialects of Japan. Japanese traditional games. Card games. Edo Karuta Research Center. Ogura Karuta. The first Ogura Hyakunin Isshu Karuta in English and variations of karutas using poetry quotes in English, German and Swedish.